What's going on, guys? My name's Anthony and I am here today to show you guys simply, concise, to the point on how to connect a 30 amp 2-pole heater out in your garage. Because for some reason us guys decided, even if it was -20 outside, we're still gonna smash beers and work on our cars outside in the garage. So that's what we're up to today. As I said, I'm gonna make this as concise and to the point as possible because I don't wanna waste your time and make a boring video. So please don't waste my time. This video ain't free. Roll down, hit the subscribe button because my wife said if I get 1,000 subscribers, I can supercharge my car. So please don't be the reason why I don't supercharge my car. So anyways, there's a couple of things we're gonna be covering in this video. Number one is gonna be the connection at the actual heater itself. Number two, I'm gonna be putting a switch somewhere around here with the junction box right at the bottom. And number three is the actual connection inside the panel. The panel is where everyone gets worried. It's really not that difficult. It's pretty straightforward. We'll go through that. So first we're gonna start out here in the garage. I'm gonna bring the feed in from down at the base there, bring it up to the switch and then up to the heater. So we're gonna go through that first and we'll look at the panel after that. Okay guys, so quickly covering the material that we're gonna be using out here in the garage. Firstly, for the feed coming from inside the house, I actually ran an A3 Romex cable inside the house. So that's gonna stub into this box at the very base of the garage over there. So this is gonna be the box where it goes from Romex into this flexed metal cable here. So this is a 411/16 by 411/16 box. You can use a 4x4, this is just what I had. So first you're gonna need some sort of box to go from Romex into the armored cable. Secondly, as I was saying, we have this flexible armored cable. So I actually just ran 2 number 10s and a ground. It's just a 2-phase heater, no neutral required. So it's 2 number 10s for the power side, and then the ground you can step down 1 wire size, so it's a number 12 ground. I can't even remember what size flex this is actually, to be honest. I think it's 3/8 flex with L16 connectors. So the L16 connectors allow you to connect into the box and the bottom of the switch. So bringing over to the switch, this is actually a 3-phase 30 amp switch. I only have 2 phases, but that's fine. We're just gonna use 2 screws on each side, top and bottom. As long as you keep the same screws on each side, it's fine. You can use it for 2-phase over 3-phase. So make sure whatever amperage your heater is, you need to have that rated wire and equipment. So if you're using a 20 amp heater, you would need 20 amp switch, 20 amp rated wire, which would be size 12, so on and so forth. So that's about it. We have our armored cable to go from the box to the switch, and then from the switch to the actual heater unit itself. And that's it. The 2 lengths of cable with the armor, L16s, the box, then the switch. So now I am going to actually run the wire from inside the house out, and I'll show you the connection in this box as we go up to the switch. So I figured I'd take a second to talk about this for one moment real quick, just because, I mean, if you're installing your heater, you're gonna be doing this. So I'm drilling the hole now to bring the feed from inside to outside. And you really have to be careful when you're doing stuff like this because, I mean, you can tell all I did was drill the hole straight down. I just kind of looked on this side of the wall and on the other side of the wall, what was around, if there was any electrical, just to be very careful. This build out right here is actually for my washroom on the other side of the wall. So I took a measurement, actually here, I'll just show you. So I took a measurement in the garage from this trim over to where I was gonna drill down to try and get a measurement where I was gonna end up drilling in here. And it ended up coming right about here. So, you know, you just kind of look up and down all around. You know, I got some switches here, the plug over there. I don't think the wires are gonna be running through this area, so I really wasn't that concerned about it. So I went ahead, and the other thing you have to kind of account in for, you obviously know there's a concrete ledge here, so you don't want to try and drill straight down, try and go on a bit of an angle. So I was really lucky with this one. I mean, I've done this a lot, so I kind of just know what to do. So, you know, kind of with that angle, I'll show you where I ended up coming out in the basement. That's right, there it is right there, guys. Here's the plumbing lines that I was worried about hitting. I thought I was actually gonna come down here. I took this insulation out, but I came down a little bit more over here. perfect spot. So now I have the A3 just on the other side over there, so I'll bring that over here. We'll have it shoot out, and Bob's your uncle. Okay guys, so I got the first part done here. Got the wire out. I used my gray 3030 connector to get the wire into the box. That just makes it safe so that the wires don't get cut, frayed, or anything from the metal box. So I'm gonna push this over, mount the box here, and run my flex with the 10s from this box up to the switch, mount the switch, and then up to the heater. So just as I'm getting the junction box and getting ready to attach to the switch, I realized a pretty important thing to talk about. In this flexible conduit here that we're using, you have to be careful of sharp edges against the wires. So they have these, which are called anti-shorts. It's just a little red piece of plastic. You slide around the wires, and then you put it right around there, so that any sharp edges don't actually cut, nick, fray the wires. That'll give you a short or a problem later on down the line. Alright guys, so wrapping it up in the garage, coming down here to the electrical box, we got the feet coming in, the red, black, and white. The ground also, I always like to put the ground that's coming from the panel onto the box as the bonding ground, or the bonding wire. Also, when you're connecting these wires, it's not focusing. There you go. When you're connecting these wires, make sure you twist them with pliers, just so that you have good connection. Like, I can move the wires, they're still connected. You don't want them coming apart. And you're gonna go ahead and throw some morettes on these. The other thing, I'm probably gonna have to trim these down a little bit more. They look good. You just don't wanna see, oh, there you go. You don't wanna see any copper past the bottom of the moret. That way there's no chance of it hitting the box, causing any shocks, booms, bangs, any unwanted problems. So that's about it. In here, I'll cap the rest of these wires and put the cover on there. Coming up to the switch, to be honest, I would not recommend using a switch like this. When you're trying to get number 10 wires, you know, neatly into here, it's such a small confined space, and number 10 wires doesn't have much play. So it's a bit tricky getting them in there nicely. But as I said before, this is a 3-phase 30 amp switch. We're just using 2 phases. So I use the bottom 2 screws on this side. I can't really get a look on this side, but you can see here. I'm using the bottom 2 screws here. So the top screw here is left empty, we're not using it. And we have the ground screw in the back corner here. So both incoming from the bottom goes onto that ground screw, outgoing up to the heater goes on the ground screw. Next up at the heater, pull the ladder over here. Kind of hard to film this. Okay, so we got the incoming wire here, and let me try and get a better view. You can see right here, there's this terminal that says L1, L2. That's line 1, line 2. So the incoming lines from the actual switch. So I left a little loop here. I like to just leave a little spare wire if you have the space. So that goes on there. It doesn't really matter which one you're using. It just needs power, 2 lines. So it doesn't matter if you cross those. There's nothing really much that's gonna happen. Then you have the ground here. You can see it's got focus. It's not focused there. You can see it's got the ground symbol there. So just this screw right there is the one you're going to use for the incoming. Obviously, whatever you are using is going to be a little bit different. It will generally be set up like that. You're going to see a screw with that ground symbol. That's going to be your ground. L1 and L2 will be labeled somewhere inside the heater. If you're using a 2-phase, whether it's 15 amp, 20 amp, 30 amp, doesn't matter. And that's about it. Okay guys, so we're down here in the basement, the danger zone, the part where everyone freaks out. Don't worry, we're gonna go through it step by step. It's very easy. I've already run the wire. I didn't record that because whatever, you guys can figure that out. I just ran it across there, over in the garage. Stop! I can literally hear you guys typing away about how messy my basement is. Listen, I don't need to hear it. My wife tells me every 3 days, don't be like my wife. Be against her. Go and subscribe so I can get my supercharger. Anyways, we just moved in. It's a mess, I know. So the wire's run. We got it in right here. So I have my 30-30 connector. We're going to use another one of these to get in on the side of the panel. I got my 30 amp breaker right here. We're working on a Cutler Hammer Siemens panel, or sorry, a Cutler Hammer Eaton's panel. We're going to slap this bad boy in right here. I know this side of the panel is jammed because I put a feed in there a couple weeks ago when I first moved in. But anyways, I got my breaker, my 30-30, the wire. That's all we're going to need right now. So I'm going to open her up. First things first, turn the power off, the main power. As soon as you turn the power off, the whole panel is dead. The only part that's live is going to be up top here, which is covered by another panel. So when you take this panel off, if that main breaker is off, everything is dead. So I am going to take the panel off, turn the breaker off, then take the panel cover off, get this wire in there, and I will show you guys what is going on inside. All the panels are generally the same. They're just oriented a little bit differently. So we'll get to there and I'll show you what we got to do next. Alright guys, sorry about, I gotta use an LED light. I don't think it really works that well with the camera, but it's all I got right now. So we got power off, panel cover is off now. We got the wire going in right here with a 30-30 connector, comes out. It's a bit of a mess over here, but I actually have full plans of reorganizing everything because I want to put the panel surge suppressor in and a couple other things, condense some stuff. Anyway, so it's a bit of a mess. So the wire comes in right here. Also, like, just saying, once this power is off, everything below this panel is dead. There are some live wires back here, but like just don't take this off and you're fine. So like even here, the main bus bar, like just kidding, it's dead. You're fine. Everything's dead in here. Nothing to worry about. So with the ground, actually let's look on this side because it's a little clearer. You can see back here, I mean, you already have a panel, everything's already run, so you can see all the ground wires. Oh, how am I going to get this properly? Okay, yeah, that's not bad. All the ground wires come to this bus bar down here. So you're going to run the ground all the way down the side of the panel in the back. Just try and fish it behind the wires, bring it in the back, and put it under one of these screws. You can have more than one ground under a screw, but don't jam 10 under one screw because that's not cool. Secondly, you have this bar that runs right along here. As you can see, all the white wires are attached to it. You might not need a neutral. You might need a neutral if you're using a 15 amp heater. You're gonna need neutral. The A3 that I used has a neutral. I'm gonna connect it. I'm not using it. I'm just gonna cap it off in the junction box in the garage. So you may or may not need that, but other than that, this is where the breakers go. It all depends on what kind of panel you're using. They all kind of go in similar. So I got the breaker here. You look at the back, has a bit of a hinge here at the bottom, and then it clamps on. Oh, we're not focusing there. Then it clamps on to the actual bus bar in here. So that hinge part there will hook onto these and then stabs onto there. So we just go like this. So you slide it in onto there. I can feel that it's hooked on. And then you push it on. There you go. So that's in there. Kind of important note, you don't really want to be using power tools in the panel. Use hand tools. it's kind of much preferred. So now you're just gonna slide these onto the breaker. Horrible shot, but that's okay. Action shot. Okay, that's not really working. But anyway, you'll slide those in there, then you screw them down. And that's pretty much it in the panel. I'm just trying to think. Your power wires, the neutral, which you may or may not need. It's pretty straightforward. You can see how all the other wires are run, where the grounds, the neutrals, and the hot go, so you can kind of use that as a platform for if you have a different panel than a Cutler hammer. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this up, and that's about it. Alright guys, so that is it. As you can see, I don't know if you can hear it, the heater is up and running. Everything's all buttoned up, all the connections. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything that I missed by chance, leave them down in the comment section. And on your way down, please subscribe. As I said, my wife said I can get a supercharger for my car if I get 1,000 subscribers and monetize my account. It costs you nothing and means the absolute world to me. And if you don't like my content, unsubscribe at 10,000K when I hit 10,000K. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you have any interest in seeing any other electrical videos, subscribe as well, because if this gets any traction, I'll make some videos on putting pot lights in my garage and inside my house and doing some 3-ways, plugs, this and that. So if you're interested in that, do that as well. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you soon and see you on the next one.